Universal's Epic Universe Dark Universe includes some classic Universal dark monsters like Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, and even the Wolfman. But I'm asking today, is this land worth visiting and, more importantly, worth your money? So let's go ahead and dive into today's video. And zoinks! Let's go see some monsters. So in today's video, we're going to go over if it's worth it based off of 3 different things, and the first thing is going to be how the land is actually themed. So the land is themed to none other than Universal's classic dark monsters like Frankenstein monster, the Wolfman. You may even see the Invisible Man if you're that good. And last but not least, you'll see Igor walking around and interacting with guests, and I can't recommend meeting Igor highly enough. This guy knows what's up. So for the theming of this land, I would give it a 10 out of 10. So if you are a big theme person and you just love to be immersed into these different theme park lands, Universal's Dark Universe is for you, because as you turn the corner, you'll see none other than Frankenstein's Manor, which is now ran by Victor Frankenstein's great-great-granddaughter. So highly recommend it, and the theme is a 10 out of 10 to visit. No visit to any theme park land would be complete without talking about the attractions. And in this land, there are actually 2 attractions. There is the Curse of the Werewolf, which is a family-friendly coaster, and the main attraction is Monsters Unchained, which is a dark ride that takes you through Victor Frankenstein's Manor, and you will come face to face with some of the most fearsome Universal classic dark monsters, such as Frankenstein's monster, Dracula, Wolfman. Might even be some surprises. So if you are somebody who is prone to any kind of sudden drops, lights, and intense sounds, this ride may not be for you. However, if you are a thrill seeker and you really enjoy just being immersed and even scared a little bit, I highly recommend checking out Monsters Unchained. In my opinion, I think this is the best attraction at Universal's Epic Universe. And for your first time riding this attraction, I actually recommend waiting in the regular queue. So that is a DizWiz Dollars pro tip. Wait in the regular queue so you can see some of these great animatronics, some scares, and just to be fully immersed in the Universal's classic dark monsters world. And as somebody who usually doesn't get scared on dark rides, this one's actually pretty intense. So I do stick by my earlier comment that if you are somebody who is prone to being scared and you don't like flashing lights or loud noises, I would probably recommend skipping this attraction. However, I will say this is, in my opinion, the best attraction at Universal's Epic Universe. Now, the Curse of the Werewolf roller coaster, I would not recommend waiting. I waited when I was there about an hour and 15 minutes, and it was done in about a minute and a half. There are no animatronics in the actual roller coaster, and it did spin, which was a pretty cool effect, but you can definitely tell that this attraction got budget cut halfway through Epic Universe construction. So, but that being said, as far as attractions go, I would actually rate it about a 9 out of 10. And the reason that it gets a point drop is just because of Curse of the Werewolf. Monsters Unchained is by itself a 10 out of 10, but because the land is a little bit smaller and it only has 2 attractions, I have to give it a 9 out of 10. So let's talk about the food at Dark Universe. So the main restaurant is going to be Das Steakhouse, which is a sit-down restaurant, and I actually didn't try any of the food when I visited Dark Universe. I know, shocker, but some of the food just didn't look great to me. At this restaurant, they do use a lot of food dye, so if you're somebody who's sensitive like I am, as far as stomachs go, I would probably say skip it, but the food does look pretty good, so I do plan on trying the food at Universal's Dark Universe when I'm there in November 2026, so stay tuned for that. There's also I would say a quick service restaurant at Universal's Dark Universe, which is called the Burning Blade Tavern. Again, I didn't try any of the food there. I was just really hot that day, and then I also went over to Isle of Burt and ate at the meat hall. But do plan on trying the food when I'm there in November. I'm going to go ahead and close out this video. So, do I think that Universal's Dark Universe at Epic Universe is worth it to visit? And what score am I going to give it? Drum roll, please, or Frankenstein roll, please. I'm going to give it about an 8.5 out of 10. And the reason I scored it like that is, although it's themed 10 out of 10, and Monsters Unchained is the best attractions, there are a few things that hold the land back. And one of my biggest complaints with the land is that it is a little bit smaller. Now, as of the recording of this video, Universal does have patents out there for an expansion of Dark Universe, and I've heard different rumors that there is a Creature of the Black Lagoon dark boat ride coming, so stay tuned for that. And I also do feel like the food options, although they look cool, they could cause you some digestion issues if you visit the land. So just keep that in mind. So that's why I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. I do think it's worth it to visit and ride Monsters Unchained if you are at Universal's Epic Universe. And also, I would just like to say the Streetmosphere at this themed land, which is the actors that walk around and play violins, Igor, the Invisible Man, they really make this land come to life, which I will say I'm a big proponent of, because Disney has kind of backed off a little bit of the Streetmosphere in recent years. So I do recommend to visit Universal Dark Universe. It's a very well themed land, and you just have a great time when you visit, especially if you love the Universal Classic Dark monsters like I do. So stay tuned for my next video, where I'm going to go over, is Coronado Springs going to be worth your money to stay at Walt Disney World? And if you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I put videos out every single week on Disney money content and Universal content to see if it's worth your money. And as always, I hope your money meets the magic, and I'm going to see you in the next video.